Hi guys, Adam here, also known as Gamer Abroad, coming to you on my gaming channel, Gaming Abroad, and today we're finally going to do the team Chaos Chosen. I'm going to name them the Cali Chosen for California, which is where I'm from. I'm living in Vietnam now. The reason why I'm choosing to call it Cali Chosen is because it's an incredibly diverse team, just like California is an incredibly diverse state. This team has high strength, however it has no throwers, and it'll take a little time to level it into a competitive team. And another caveat of this team is, while it does have 3 big guys, you will only be allowed to choose one. Before I start getting into the rosters, let's talk about the different big guys just real quick before digging into their skills. The Chaos Troll is the least expensive. However, it has the really stupid ability, which is a completely annoying ability, and I do not recommend picking the Chaos Troll at all. The Chaos Ogre, I think, is the better of the choice, because it is really good early on as your blitzer, and gets even better once you start racking up those star player points, and you can make him into an even better player. The best damage of the 3 big guys, of course, is the Minotaur. He is the most expensive. He comes with Frenzy and Horns, and has the best damage because of the Strength 5, and the Frenzy is a great combination. But first, let's look at some rosters. The first roster, I believe, is the absolute best roster you should go for, and it actually includes none of the big guys, and the reason why I'm doing this, I'll show you right now. First off, we're going to take all 4 of the Chosen Blockers. The Chosen Blockers are great players, and then we will fill in the rest of the roster with the Beastmen, Runner, Linemen for 11 players. And when you do this, this is why I recommend not taking a big guy, is you can get 3 rerolls. Please take note that you will get no dedicated fans. It will bring your expenditure exactly to 1 million. I believe this is the strongest of the rosters, and let me tell you why. If you end up putting a big man on the team, and I'll show you as an example, you can get rid of 1 Beastman lineman and 1 reroll and add that Chaos Troll, and that'll bring you close to the 1 million mark. But the Chaos Troll is the worst big man you can pick, and you're now down to 2 rerolls, which is highly not recommended. Not even 3 rerolls is good for Chaos Chosen. Now you're down to 2. If you want to take a better big man, you can go with the Ogre. However, you're going to sacrifice yet another reroll, but you will have some money for some dedicated fans, bringing you up to 5. This is a viable strategy, but you are going to have a rough time in your first couple of games until you can afford some more rerolls. However, you should be able to get those rerolls fairly quickly with your dedicated fans, but you're just gonna have to muscle through those first couple of games. Most of the time, I don't think things are gonna work out for you very well, having only 1 reroll per half. The first roster I showed you, we'll go back to that. 7 runners, 4 Chaos Blockers, no dedicated fans, however, and 3 rolls. I believe this is the absolute best roster you can start out with and get your big man later, and I highly recommend the Ogre or the Minotaur, but we'll talk about the players and their abilities here in a little bit. So honestly, I think this is the only viable roster and the best one to go for. Now let's take a look at the players individually. First, we're going to start with the Chaos Troll, which I think you should not pick because he has the really stupid trait, and this is a super annoying trait. It of course has projectile vomit, which replaces the block action. On a 1, you will vomit on yourself. However, at a 2 or higher, you will vomit on the opposing teammate, causing you to make an armor roll and hopefully thereafter a injury roll. So that is very nice. Regeneration is really helpful for keeping him on the field. It comes with the throw teammate option. However, you have no teammates to throw, which also voids out the always hungry. I think this is a horrible choice, but if you were to go with the Chaos Troll, the first thing you're going to want to get is Pro. You got to get some sort of offset for that really stupid. After that, you're going to want to go with Guard and then Stand Firm. However, like I said 4 times already, you only get to choose one, and you probably shouldn't choose the Chaos Troll. However, Ogre is a very good option. Ogre is the mid-priced one, and he's very, very good as a blitzer early on, and as you develop him, you can find a little bit more roles for him to do. He comes with the Bonehead trait, and the Bonehead trait shares some similarities with Really Stupid, except for it's only on the dice roll of 1 instead of 1 to 3, so that makes him a lot more reliable than that stupid troll. If you were to go Ogre, which is very viable, this is how you should level them. You should go into Block. As I've said in many videos before, Block is absolutely necessary whenever there's body-to-body contact. And then you can go into Guard, or perhaps even Claws if you wanted to make him a blitzer, which is a good use of him early on. And then you can go into Stand Firm. And then as another skill, should you get him leveled that high, Defensive is a great double skill. Now let's look at the Minotaur. Now I love this guy. The Minotaur comes with Frenzy and Horns and his Strength 5, which is a great combination for knocking players on their butt. He has a thick skull, so it's going to be a little harder to hurt him. He comes with the ability Unchanneled Fury. The Minotaur is an angry beast. When you activate this player and you roll a +2, the action becomes a blitz or a block. However, on a +4, he will continue normally, so he's not really good for running around and not knocking people over. This guy wants to kill. When you level your Minotaur, I highly suggest doing this. One of the main things that's missing from this awesome combination of Frenzy, Horns, and Strength would be the claws. When a player with a skill knocks down an opponent, the latter's armor value is always broken on an unmodified result of 8+. This makes this guy an absolute powerhouse. After claws, I would highly consider going into block. Block is a fantastic skill. After that, go into the strength tree and pick up Juggernaut. This synergizes very well with Frenzy. Should you get a both down, you can change it into pushback, which will make him move forward and do another block action on your opponent. Now let's back up and take a look at the blockers, the chosen blockers. The chosen blockers come with no skills. However, they do have a decent agility at 3+, and they have a pretty good strength at 4. They're a little slow, but their armor value is fantastic. When you start leveling your chosen blockers, let's take advantage of that agility and give them dodge, which unfortunately is a secondary skill. However, dodge will make it so that you can move them around and position them a little bit better. After getting dodge, go into the primary tree and pick up Mighty Blow, and then guard. Probably should get block. I'm a huge fan of block. Block is just one of those skills that really turns me on, gets me breathing heavy. I get super excited when my players have this skill block. I'm a big fan of this skill if you haven't been able to tell by now. If you want a little extra control, I would consider going grab. Also, stand firm would make a great skill on a chosen blocker. Now, let's look at the Goatmen, the Beastman, Runner, Linemen. These guys come with the ability Horns, and with the Horns ability on a block during a blitz, this player gains +1 strength. They're only at 3 strength, so that +1 strength is very useful on block actions, and you're gonna wanna have some Beastman runners on the line of scrimmage, so there'll be some opportunities to use this skill to its benefit. You're gonna have many of these goat dudes on your team, so there's many different ways you need to build them. First thing you need to think about is you need to have someone that's gonna handle the ball. Sorry for clicking out there. If you're gonna handle the ball, of course you need things like this. What makes Chaos Chosen different than some of the other teams is you have access to mutations, and this makes them very powerful later on. As I said early in the video, Chaos Chosen is not really a team that does well right when you start, but if you start leveling up, they actually become a very powerful team. So in this case, we're gonna look at the skills Extra Arms, which will allow them to pick up the ball a little easier. We're gonna look at 2 Heads, which is gonna allow them to dodge a little easier. They already have agility 3+, which is a decent agility, and this will give them another +1, making them essentially an elf on their dodges when it comes to their first agility roll. If you want to make them as slippery as an elf themselves, after 2 Heads, you can go into the agility tree and pick up dodge, which I highly recommend for your ball carrier. And to complement your Extra Arms even better, let's go with Sure Hands, which is in your general tree, and that'll make it so he can pick up the ball very easily. We've used a lot of skills thus far, making him a good ball handler. If you wanted to fill in an extra skill, you could use block so he can hold on to that ball just a little bit better, or you can take a secondary skill and take Sure Feet or Sprint. I like Sprint a little better than Sure Feet. Totally up to you. You could have 2 ball handlers if you want. Like I said, this is one of the guys, obviously, that you're going to have the most of on the team. You're also going to need to build a couple of them as aggressive style goat dude. And with aggressive style goat dudes, of course, we need block, tackle, strength tree, into Mighty Blow, guard, and then why not take advantage of that mutation tree, throw some claws on them, and then we can go into the general tab and pick up Frenzy for that extra killing action. You're gonna wanna have a couple support style, Beastman, Runner, Lineman, Goat Dudes. With those guys, you're gonna wanna pick up block, of course. I love block. Go into the strength tree, pick up guard, and stand firm. If you wanna be able to reposition them pretty well, let's take advantage of the mutation tree again and go with 2 Heads so you can get +1 on those agility tests during a dodge, which will make them dodge like an elf. Now we're gonna look at our sideline Beastman, Runner, Goat Dude. For that, we're gonna wanna pick up Frenzy, Tackle, and then Juggernaut. For the line of scrimmage, Beastman, Goat Dude, I think Wrestle is a very good skill for getting a player down and out of the way. Of course, Block would be great on them, also Guard, and let's throw in Tackle for good measure. Now also remember, you're gonna need one of them that does the sneaky get / dirty player, so you can foul and get rid of those annoying opponent players that are causing you lots of trouble. Thank you very much for coming out and watching my Chaos Chosen Blood Bowl 3 Team Race Players Guide. My name is Adam, once again, also known as Gamer Abroad. It's my gaming channel, Gaming Abroad. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, and I hope you guys stay that way.